it strong.
Welcome back, guys. New episode of the Big Fat Podcast, powered by Crossfit Green, fueled by Sweat and Reset, supported by Fat Nutrition, Fat Barbell, and Fat Gymnastics. Guys, the Big Mac is back.
Turn again the Mac. For the third time.
Back again, Jayne.
Yep.
So we'll start off the podcast with I can't remember how I was gonna ask the question again.
I don't know if I even understand it, but something to do with being.
Tell me you've had sex without telling me you've had sex.
I thought you were doing the rich one for me.
What was the rich one?
You mean tell people that I'm pregnant?
You're pregnant? What? I wasn't leading down this rabbit hole, but do go on.
Which I'm sure is pretty much common knowledge, even though I've been able to share it with some people over Zoom, but I realise there's so many members that I would have, of course, been able to see in the gym if things were open, but hopefully we will be soon.
So it's a subtle brag. I was like, yeah, I had sex. What?
Jesus, Fergal.
Lovely. So Jayne, you're actually the third pregnant person that's been on this podcast.
Wow.
You were 1 and 2 as well.
I was just going to be like, I'm like, who? I was thinking of something like...
So it's like Siobhan, Lauren, Roberta, Sonia. No,
okay.
They've all been Jayne.
Yeah.
Lovely, guys. We have Jayne on. As we said, she is pregnant, so we are having her on to discuss about how her training habits and stuff have changed, obviously, since she's going through pregnancy.
Yep.
So,
delve in. Well, as I did admit to you, Fergal, before this, I would love to be, I suppose, coming on saying, you know, as a coach and as now a pregnant coach and someone who's worked with people through pregnancy and training, I'd love to be like, it's been wonderful, I've done this, it's, you know, but of course, truth be told, it has been an up and down journey, as I think, you know, everybody with fitness and different things that happen in life. Fitness has certainly been a roller coaster for me.
Yeah.
So I guess not to unload excuses, but I suppose to look at the situation.
We'll go to the picture of it. You pregnant since November or early December?
Early December.
Early December.
Yeah, was when I found out.
And then obviously the holidays came along.
Yeah, so just to set the scene, I guess. So it was December. We're just coming out of a lockdown.
When did you find out you were pregnant first? So you just came out of the November lockdown?
Mid-December.
So then you had like the first 2 weeks probably of December where you were doing full-blown CrossFit, doing muscle-ups and handstand push-ups and all that.
Well, I've actually, so to bring you back a little bit further, when I think back to the first lockdown, it was new and different to everyone, and you know, people approached it and adapted differently. And I think I did, looking back now, I would say proud nearly. I was like, I refocused, I took on working out at home, I took on living with you. Actually, with the time, it was great. So, you know, and you can attest that, you know, I started looking after my macros.
Yeah.
I was eating right. I was starting to lean out a little bit. The sun was shining. I was getting a tan. It was, you know, it was a really great time, actually. And I remember on return to the gym feeling really fit, and then loving returning to the gym because I was in a really good space, enjoyed working out. And actually a takeaway from that to where I am now, I thought, you know, it's actually really easy to work out when you're in a good place.
I totally agree with that.
And in terms of
analogy.
Like, because mental health is becoming a big kind of, it always has reared its head, but now again more than ever with the lockdown. Because I've always associated, I suppose, like working out with, you know, like as part of my mental health, or, you know, it helps you to be.
Yeah.
But then I thought, actually, you know, I really only work out well when I'm already in a good space.
Yeah.
But for me, if I'm not in a good space, it's very hard to work out. There's a lot of pressure around it.
And feels like a chore, a task, rather than I'm going to actually go out and enjoy what I'm doing. And
exactly. So just to recap on that, came back after that first lockdown in a really good place, feeling really fit and good. And then I did have a slight knee injury in and around August. Don't know if you remember or
I do remember, yeah.
And that's
because you were running too much. God damn it, Jayne.
It was a hike. It was a goddamn hike.
Stick
to CrossFit. Stay indoors.
It was coming down the hill as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, it was a little knee issue that was always there, but it just really flared up. And it made me reflect on, again, even I don't deal with injuries very well because it makes me feel
low,
less than. Like when it comes to a workout, I feel like I'm not enough. And even though I'm an advocate for people when they're injured, I'm like, if you're injured, like, it doesn't matter, just come to the gym anyway, we can adapt, we can modify. But it's not always that simple, especially when it comes to how it affects you, I guess, in your mental health.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that kind of put a bit of a downer on it, because I couldn't like do a lot of the like squatting and running. I was doing great with running actually after the first lockdown.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I couldn't run.
You weren't allowed to run at all.
Yeah, and that kind of got me, I guess, down in that aspect of things as well. So that was, I feel like I'm unloading my excuses, but I'm going to talk about them as more of a situation.
So wait, this story, you haven't even had sex yet.
Exactly. You're still a virgin. Anyway, so that was that. Then we had the second lockdown, which I had a lot of because I was thinking back to the first lockdown, and I just didn't take to home workouts like I did in the first lockdown.
Well, again, of course, the second lockdown was a different kettle of fish. It was November. There was no light in the evenings. It was a hell of a lot colder than it was in May and June.
Yeah, and as much as we talk about environmental change and how it affects us, like, it does. We can all feel it now. The sun is shining again, and you can see people's spirits are starting to lift. So there was that, and then it was Christmas, and I suppose the wind down into the Christmas holidays, and I found out I was pregnant, which I was delighted about, and like at that time not really working out, and so I enjoyed my Christmas, and then was coming out of the other side straight into this next lockdown. Yeah. Which, again, if you want to call it an excuse, but just didn't lend any support to getting back into a workout routine. So I just felt that also didn't help. And then days lead into weeks, lead into months, and dare I say it, you've asked for the truth. I was then standing, I suppose, looking at myself. Another thing, lockdown, I think, I don't know, will we get to this, but like in terms of being able to stop and think about where you're currently at. Yeah.
But as well, on top of that, with excuses though, like, again, I'm not a maestro on pregnancy, but it doesn't affect people like differently as well anyway. Oh yeah,
so even,
because again, as long as I've lived with you, like, you're up at like 5:30 or 6 every single morning. And I remember you said to me before, when you were a child, you'd asked your parents, could you go to bed early so you could get up early?
I'm an early riser by nature. So actually, that was another thing that I was, I suppose, internally, I guess, nearly struggling with. So they do say, like, your first couple of weeks of pregnancy, the best way I would put it was I just didn't feel like myself. Yeah. Especially my usual self in the morning, where I'm up. It's my best time of day personally, like, to be productive and get things done. Yeah. And now all of a sudden I was like struggling to get out of bed, and I just put it down to like low energy. Yeah. But for me, because it was so different to how I usually feel, in my head I was saying, you're lazy, you're a piece of crap, get up. Like, you know, so I was coming
unnecessary pressure on yourself.
Pressure on myself. In hindsight, it's easy to say, feck, it was part of pregnancy, and I wish maybe I could have been a little bit more accepting of it. But you learn from, well, actually a nice thing from the lockdown is it's a little bit easier now, I think, to learn from what's going on, because when we're in the usual fast-paced routine of life, which is great, you don't get that same time, I think. That's been a big takeaway for me with the lockdown, and a really nice part of being pregnant. I've actually been able to absorb what's going on a lot more. Yeah. Kind of reflect on what's happening. Yeah, because I think if I was in the regular routine of, working here, home, it would be work, jobs, home, blah, blah. Oh, you're pregnant. Oh, yeah. Whereas now I can actually, like, whether it's good or bad, because it can mean stopping and thinking about parts of yourself that maybe you don't want to. Yeah, of course. There's pros and cons to both sides. Yeah. So... yeah, I can't remember where I was going with that. So you're in January, you're struggling to get out of bed before 9 o'clock. Living with you, and you're like, what's wrong with you, Jayne? I'm like, nothing. Get out of the bed and train. What the fuck is wrong with you? But anyway, so actually... you got too comfortable at Christmas. In every sense, I suppose I was here to say, I then had to turn around and look at myself and be like, you're a coach, you're pregnant, it's been 3 months, and you haven't really done a workout.
It wasn't that long.
And that was hard for me to take on. Because not much in December. January came in, February came in.
Well, again, like you talk about it, so you had, again, the wind down the week before Christmas is always weird inside the gym.
Yeah.
Because numbers fluctuate and stuff like that, and our numbers even fluctuate.
Yeah.
You weren't back up until New Year's Day, was it?
No, I stayed at home nearly for 2 weeks after that lockdown.
Oh yeah, because we were in lockdown, so then you didn't have to be in work then. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, but like you didn't have access to a gym.
But
So
a funny thing to me, and I questioned myself on this, from being someone who's surrounded by fitness and almost uses fitness as, I suppose, part of a mental health routine, because you work out, you feel good, you're in a good space, you work out. And I would often think about people maybe who even came through the door, or even people in my family or friends that, don't have any fitness or physical routine in their lifestyle. And I think, how does that happen? And there's been times in my life before, absolutely, when I haven't been in like this workout environment, but I was just saying, it happens so easily. And it's comfortable.
when you're not doing exercise.
Absolutely, it's
it's
really
easy.
comfortable.
You don't have to wash as many clothes.
You don't
have to worry about smelling.
or getting to the gym or being there. So I guess it gave me a little bit. It made me kind of step back and say, not that I judged it in a bad way before. I more thought about them as in, like, I wanted to help them because I knew what this can do for me. I wanted them to have that in their life, but it's not always that easy.
No.
And I think the big thing for me is, it's easy to work out when you're in a good space and you feel like capable. And I've learned for myself, like, when I'm in that space of, like, when I don't feel like I can do a workout to the best of my ability.
Yeah. You feel disheartened.
And it's a kind of I'm like, ugh, I'll just do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow's a week, and then tomorrow's a month.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you're not wrong.
That's my but bringing it back, then I suppose I've definitely I have done some workouts. Don't worry, I'm not a total slob.
So you did the first full open workout RX, didn't you?
And really enjoyed it.
Of course you did. It was shoulder fucking walks.
And really enjoyed
you love being upside down.
Yeah.
It was a handy workout for you, and you were still comfortable lying on your belly at that point.
Yeah. So I've done some workouts in my return that I've loved and been like, oh, this is why I work out, because I really enjoy this. And then other ones where I've been like, oh my god, there's nothing about this I enjoy. This is awful. Was
that the dumbbell burpee one?
I actually didn't mind that one either. Yeah, and it was funny. So what the open did for me was gave me a little bit, not that I was trying to do, I think just in my head I had that goal. I'm like, I'm going to do the open workouts. Yeah. Simple. And it just gave me that non-negotiable that I came in every Saturday and did them. Yeah. Which was nice. Because maybe during the lockdown and stuff, people trying to motivate themselves to do home workouts, it's hard when you've no little goal or reason behind doing it. And I was telling you now that I've just started some pregnancy yoga. Yeah. Which has sat really well with me as well, because it just has that little bit more meaning behind it.
Have you incorporated much of it into your stretch classes?
Not because I'm kind of on a flow with them. They're programmed kind of in already. Oh, okay. But when I do pop new things in there when I come across new ideas all the time. Okay. But nothing. When I say I've started this now, I'm like 2 weeks in. I think I've done 3 little sessions of it at home. But it's nice to. I'm glad I'm doing it because for me, I think I have to have like a reason or intention behind doing something. Of course,
like any good program, you can't just throw stuff on a piece of paper. It has to have a purpose.
Yeah. And that's actually why I guess call it. Oh no, I'm not allowed to say the word. I say, but like CrossFit or signing up to a gym where classes are there for you. Like it's
a coached environment.
It's such a supportive environment, and it takes the non-negotiable away.
What's the negotiable?
Like if I was to work out at home
on your own, but just like will I, won't I?
Negotiate with myself beyond. I'm sure it'd be. Whereas
I'm going to scale this back. I'm going to change the movement. I'm going to make it real easy for me.
When you give, it can be nice to kind of let go and give into something and just be like, I'm doing this. Yeah. And to take away kind of all the variables or decision making around it. So I think that's why people are attracted to group style fitness.
Yeah.
They commit to a membership, a payment, friends are then going, they schedule it in. So there's so many little commitments there.
Sure. I think when I used to have to program the Saturdays, everyone used to be able to kind of predict. They'd have some idea about what's coming up. And it was like Fergal's working Saturday, so he's not training. So the workout's probably going to have burpees and handstand push-ups in it. And I'm just like, yeah, that's what I'm programming.
There you go.
And the rower, because I hate the rower at the moment. But
okay. But again, not to turn the podcast away from me, but just in terms of ups and downs, I guess I was just sharing like the ups and downs of
pregnancy
and working out, like how
in general
it can
apply to anyone,
which I think is an interesting conversation. Like how have you kept yourself
I'm the host, I ask the questions, Jayne. You're not allowed to ask the questions. I ask the questions. I think it like no well again in the first lockdown last year, what was I doing? I was doing my college exams, so I actually didn't even notice any lockdown until the middle of May.
That's right.
The only thing was, obviously Dave was nice enough to let me use the gym, use the offices that we put up as my study space, but then by the time I got to the end of May, I was like, holy shit, we're not allowed to go anywhere. What's going on? Yeah,
it was actually a great time for you to...
It worked out perfectly for me, really, to be honest. Well, kind of. Second lockdown, I don't really know what happened. I think
it was a bit of a blur, wasn't it?
Well, so when we came back to the gym, that was the first bit of strength training I had done where I had picked up no injuries along the way, no little niggles or anything like that. So, but I hadn't really tracked, and I was a little bit heavier than I would have liked to have been. So I was like, fuck it. End of November, I'm just going to test all my strength numbers.
I remember.
I didn't eat badly, but I didn't track macros. So I was eating a lot more carbs and proteins and a little bit extra fat, but I wasn't like eating takeaways and chocolate. So I was like, at the end of the thing, we'll try and, 6 for 6? Yeah. Bam. All my strength numbers. Check it out on the Insta.
You got them all, didn't you?
Got them all. Yeah. Obviously worked in December.
Can I just say I admire that in you, because you always seem to have a little personal intent or reason behind the workout you're doing. Yeah. And with confidence even.
I don't do it with confidence. I might program it with confidence.
I suppose I'm just comparing to myself. Like for me, I'm like, what do I want to do? Will I do this? Or is that good enough? I'm not sure. Yeah. Whereas I always see you come in here with intent, whether you're with others or on your own, and you do what you meant to do.
Yeah, I get really like, that's something that's like, I remember a few years ago we had PD Savage in here, the guy from the CrossFit thing, and I remember Ian Podge walked to him. Yeah. He just came in and he did his gymnastics first. He used to do his weightlifting, and then he'd do his WOD and he'd leave. Yeah. So he was doing obviously competitor program, but he'd still be in and out here in an hour and a half. Okay. So I always really latched onto that. I was like move with a purpose.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, I'm not actually coming in here to social. I'll talk to you afterwards. I might talk to you about the start, but I want to get in. I want to get warm. I want to do what I'm here to do. Yeah. And then I can do everything else afterwards.
That's great. I think that's why I see in you, I'm like, oh, look at him go.
I get so stressed out. I mean, I'm not going to lie. So the coaches, we have trained in here a few times. Yeah. But oh my God, does it take us so long to get started.
Do you love training with me?
Oh my God. Like when we're training, the workout's great and all that, and everyone's having fun.
But then warm up my jaw muscles.
to get it started, it's just like, oh my God, you just talked. We just had a meeting for an hour.
Hence a timetable in a class is great for people. Like, you come in, you get it done. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Like some days we've done stuff here where it's like a 20-minute workout. So it should be with a warm-up and the 20-minute workout. It should be a Zoom class. We should be gone in half an hour. Yeah. It takes us an hour and a half to get
90 minutes later.
It's just like, dude, that was a 20-minute workout.
That's another, I mean, maybe another food for thought for your next podcast is like, it depending on people's jobs, I guess, but like recreating your structure, your timetable, your personal structure when you're working from home. Like now you have all this time that you're in control of, which I'm I guess part of me loves like have to be at work at this time, I'm home at this time, then I know I have the hour to do my shopping at this time, I'm going to work out at this time. It keeps everything orderly. Yeah. Which you love and hate. Your day is nearly organized for you, and you just have to fit yourself in around it. And we all, I think it is part of the rat race. You're like, oh my God, I don't have time to do this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden we have all this time in the day. We don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. We don't have to be up at a certain time. We think this is wonderful. Yeah. But man, it's hard to, I'll speak for myself. It's like you've all this time but it's very difficult to get anything done or to stay self-disciplined maybe. Like I feel like it's easier for me to do a weekly shop and a workout in a full working day than it is now.
Yeah.
Because you
totally agree.
Yeah, you agree, okay.
Well, like at the start of this third lockdown, obviously when we got the news, I was just like, all right, I'm being as proactive as I possibly can. I'm coming in, I'm looking after my food, I'm going to train regularly, do this, that and the other.
Yeah.
Then again, as you said, like I got little injuries, like little niggles,
yeah,
disheartened you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been up and down a lot in this
Yeah.
one. And then I think there was the middle of March, I think I had to do a 6:30 class.
Yeah.
That's fine, 6:30, did my Zoom class, uploaded the thing, done everything sorted by 7:30. I had to go back to bed and I didn't get up until nearly midday.
Yeah.
I was just like, Dave, man, I can't do the 6 o'clock shift when we open up again, man.
Your tolerance
It's just,
goes with, yeah,
wow.
absolutely. And that was me in the first lockdown, which was great because I did stick to it. But you have to make those decisions and you have to stick to them.
Stick to decisions.
Kind of. And that might not be for everybody, of course. Yeah. But it's a funny one for me because like I think I love all the free time. But then I'm like, no, I need the structure. I guess it's about finding the balance. I'm certainly aware of it would be nice to find a bit more of balance between where we're at now and going back to like the real busyness of what we experience.
Yeah, like a real structured life, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
The novelty of it is kind of wearing off a lot. Well, it has worn off.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So how when are you're due in August?
So yeah, I am really hoping that the gym opens up with everybody like sooner rather than later, so that people can get back in here, and I want to just see people, hang out with people before.
You're such a social butterfly.
I think I just said this in the room next door earlier. Maybe you guys see me as being a social butterfly, but I do love my own time, and I can like love my own company and can spend a whole day by myself and enjoy it.
But you wouldn't spend 2 whole days by yourself.
I guess not. And it's just when I meet people now and you walk away from like having an actual like in-person conversation with someone lately and you're like, God, that felt so good. And I suppose when you look at us here on a gym floor for 8 hours, all the social interaction, like sometimes you walk out that door and you're like, I don't want to see anybody for a week because you're just tired of, not
talking to people. Your jaw muscles get worn out.
Yeah. So again, with everything, finding the balance. Yeah. Is maybe that can be the key takeaway from this.
Finding the balance. And are you doing any other plans to change up your training, your fitness, or are you just going to commit to baby yoga for a while?
Yeah. So again,
pregnancy yoga.
I definitely will admit that I feel, I guess, guilty. And maybe even ashamed that like
ashamed, that's a dark word.
I'm like I should have been working out, like I'm a coach number 1 and now I'm a pregnant coach, and why was I not leading by example? But I can look back and kind of accept it a little bit as to like the reasonings of why, but I certainly would love to like start getting, once the gym gets open, and it will be a very different style of training for me, absolutely.
Yeah. Not
only because I'm pregnant, but because I haven't done a lot of working out lately, so it's going to have to be like
gradual,
a very different type of fitness, then which is hard to contend with in your head, because when you think of yourself and how you usually do something, and then all of a sudden you can't do that, it can just be like, well, I'm not doing it, so I'm going to have to strip it back, and hopefully join in, because I do believe that like our classes are fully supportive because we can adapt and modify.
Yeah.
So I will be really looking forward to a coached environment and just committing to a class.
As in being coached or being the coach?
Both, but being coach is what I was referring to in that moment.
But then again, coaching is kind of a style of leadership. Like, would you say your style of leadership then would be leading by example?
Oh, that was a bit of a tongue twister. Yes. Is that what you mean? So that I like to... What did you mean by that?
So as you're a coach, in some sort of ways, you're a leader or require leadership characteristics.
Yeah.
And your style of leadership would be to lead by example.
That would be something that actually I find very, like, if I'm advising someone or, you know, suggesting something to someone, I have a lot of pressure on myself that I need to be living that advice or living that. And I understand that that's not like realistic either, because nobody's perfect, and it's okay to make a suggestion to someone if you're not like the perfect picture of it yourself. That's been a tough one for me though, especially in our, you know, like I'm telling people like to do this, work out, eat that, and then if I'm not doing it, I'm like, oh, like I should be.
Yeah. But again, I always remember that, because when we did our S&C thing, when I did that in UCD, I remember the guy said to us, it was just like, you have to understand your role. It was just like, like Sir Alex Ferguson was a great footballer, but he was by no means world class, and he's still the best, I suppose, manager or coach of all time. And I remember they asked us the question, it was just like, who would you rather have teach you sprint? Usain Bolt or Usain Bolt's coach?
Oh yes, very good point.
So those who can do, those who can't teach.
Yes, okay.
So I teach CrossFit because I can't do it.
Brilliant, yeah. No, I've definitely, like, it's something that I've had the conversation with myself, and I can see both sides of it. You know, of course it's nice to lead by example. Yeah. But it's okay in life if you're not at a point, but you can still share that knowledge or understanding that you have. As you said, we're teachers, educators, even if it's not your current situation. We're not perfect.
Speak for yourself. I'm an adequate CrossFitter, as I like to tell Paddy Boyce. Shout out Paddy Boyce. I was like, I can do everything once. Yeah.
But another few eye-opening things, just in terms of, because I mean, I've done a pre and postnatal coaching course, and of course in my current situation I'm doing a lot more reading and educating, and it's a lovely like journey to be on. Like, it's eye-opening. Like, I'm actually amazed at the amount of knowledge, or well, the amount I'm learning about being pregnant that I had no idea of. You know,
I have a bull's clue about any of it.
And there's a lot of even things I would have said myself, you know, to pregnant women. You're like, oh, we can adapt and modify, and, you know, just listen to your body and just do what you've done before. Like, that's fine.
So you just used to give vague, open-ended statements.
And like, when you tell someone, you know, just listen to your body, they're like, oh, what am I listening for? You know?
My go-to was, you're pregnant, you can do what you like. If you're unsure, ask Sarah Kelly.
There, and again, like, it, because I haven't even had the baby yet, but I just feel that much more connected, I guess, with the process of training and fitness now that I'm going through it. Not to say that a coach who hasn't been pregnant or who will never be pregnant, such as yourself, Fergal.
What was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie who ends up pregnant?
The Kindergarten? No.
The Kindergarten Cop, that's a different movie.
No, yeah.
Oh my God, what's that movie?
I can't remember.
I can't remember it either. It's the one with Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Anyway, like, not say, I mean, of course you can support a pregnant woman with the knowledge and what, and
are you saying you can't support a pregnant man? That's sexist.
I don't know what to say. But yeah, there's been a couple of statements there that I'm saying, you know, it's a bit more than just the physical. There's an emotional side to it then as well, you know, into how they're feeling, because there is a lot of worry being a first time, I suppose, pregnant. You do worry, like, you have ridiculous worries.
It's very funny sometimes that you can see it sometimes, the difference between someone who's pregnant for the first time and you see a person that's had children before.
Absolutely. But it's okay, because again, there's a really great support network out there, I think, for women who are pregnant now. When you reach out, you know, like, you're not alone. Like, lots of people have these worries. And in saying that though, when you do step out into, we'll say, like, a gym environment, you can feel very alone on a gym floor here. When people turn around and say, you'll be fine, you know, don't worry about that. The worry is real, and, you know, other people just might not have experienced it. It might seem trivial to them.
Again, it's anything in life. Like, if you came up to me and I was like, even though it mightn't be something to worry about. Again, like, if I said to a pregnant woman, don't worry about that, but I don't know what it's like to be pregnant, so I can't. It's very hard for me to relate.
It has opened my eyes just to just being that little bit more sensitive, or just, you know, before you make a quick judgment or like statement, to to fix someone's worry. That like we're not here to fix your worries. We're here just to support you. So if that's your worry, that's your worry. Does that make sense?
That's your problem. We'll just, yeah.
But not
I
try
get
and
what
fix
you're saying.
it,
I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah,
To try and
yeah.
give them help on their journey into whatever.
Not say like, you'd be grand, just do it.
Just get on with it. Just rub some dirt in that cut. You'd be fine.
Which can be a good approach sometimes, and I think approach we often take in here with people to push them to their potential.
Yeah.
But not always the best approach, because it might not, you might just be devaluing, I suppose, how they're actually feeling, and possibly making them feel worse.
Again, that comes back to leadership styles.
It does.
Different things for different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
Huh?
That's why you have such a colourful bunch of coaches in here. Equally a colourful bunch of members.
Equally. Guys, that's it for this week. Like, comment and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Jayne, give us a clap to see us off.
Be strong. Be strong.